Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing about diffraction, its introduction, the types of diffraction and Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit. Introduction. What is diffraction? Diffraction is the phenomenon of bending of light around the corners and spreading in the direction of geometrical shadow of an object. It is very easy to understand diffraction from this diagram, wherein you see lambda is the source of light used and d is the obstacle thickness, or I should say the slit width. If lambda is far less than d, then there is no diffraction. The light straight away comes out. And when lambda is equal to d or it is far greater than d, then you see the extent of diffraction has increased. So the light starts bending now at the geometrical shadows, towards the geometrical shadows, and you get a spectrum, diffraction spectrum on the screen placed. Now what are the types of diffraction? Types of diffraction, we have two diffractions. One is called the Fresnel diffraction, other one is called the Fraunhofer diffraction. But in our BTech course, engineering physics course, we will study only the Fraunhofer diffraction because it is mathematically easy to formulate and understand. So we deal with the difference between Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffractions now. The first difference, as you can see in the diagrams also, source and screen are at effectively infinite distance from the slit in Fraunhofer diffraction. Source and screen are at finite distance from the slit. Second difference is incident wavefront is planar because we use convex lenses here, which is the next point, convex lenses, and that makes the beam parallel. So that makes the beam parallel or the wavefront becomes planar. In the case of Fresnel diffraction, incident wavefront is either spherical or cylindrical because the source is placed very close to the screen. In Fraunhofer diffraction, convex lenses are used. Fresnel, there are no convex lenses used. Mathematical treatment of Fraunhofer diffraction is easy, but it is complex in Fresnel diffraction. Because the beam is parallel or the incident wavefront is planar, you see the central fringe will be bright. How is this happening? Because if the beam is parallel, if the wavefront is planar, then you see here the point C corresponds to a point where the path difference becomes zero, which is the condition satisfied by the constructive interference. So you get here bright fringe. Fresnel diffraction, the central fringe may or may not be bright. Fraunhofer diffraction is also called a far field diffraction, and Fresnel diffraction is also called a near field diffraction. We go for Fraunhofer diffraction at a single slit. Now the same diagram, if you see carefully now, this is the monochromatic source of light. This is the setup of the Fraunhofer diffraction at single slit. So this is the monochromatic source of light. We have a convex lens here, and then the beam is made parallel, and the slit is AB. It has the slit width small e, and the beam gets diffracted here and then again converged using a convex lens. So the C point is central bright fringe and the diffraction angle is theta. So this theta will be referring back in the derivation also. And what is our aim? Our aim is to find intensity at point P on the screen and the conditions for maxima, minima and secondary maxima. So you see the diagram here. You see this is the intensity plot. So this angle is theta, this angle is 90. So this angle again becomes theta. Okay, so this is how we get this angle theta, and this small length bn is actually the path difference between these two rays A, P and BP. So we will start with the derivation now. The path difference between the rays originating from A and B is given as Bn, which is nothing but AB sine theta, or AB is equal to E, so it is E sine theta, where E is the slit width. Similarly, the corresponding phase difference is 2 pi by lambda times Bn, which makes it 2 pi E sine theta by lambda. Now we all are aware about Huygens wave theory, so we will just use this theory, and because of which slit AB can be divided into a large number n, small n, of point sources of secondary wavelets. Hence, the phase difference between any two consecutive point sources in AB is given as the entire phase difference delta between the 2 point sources is equal to phi by n. What is phi? Phi is the phase difference corresponding to the slit width E. So I have the small delta, the phase difference between 2 point sources, to be equal to 2 pi E sine theta by n lambda. I have just divided this phi by n. Now we use the result from the theory of composition of n vibrations, each of amplitude small a and common phase difference delta between successive vibrations. The resultant amplitude r at a point P on the screen is r equal to a sine n delta by 2 by sine delta by 2. Now this theoretical result arrives from considering the wavefront and the contribution of all the wavefronts together to get me the resultant amplitude. So this is the result we'll be using and we'll be referring to in the further discussions also. So R is equal to a sine n delta by 2 by sine delta by 2. You have to remember this result, and we feed in the value of phase difference here between the 2 point sources and we get this equation. Now in this equation, because pi E sine theta by lambda is common, so let me substitute alpha is equal to pi E sine theta by lambda. So I get my resultant amplitude at point P to be a sine alpha by sine alpha by n. Now what is the order of n? What is n? That is the number of point sources. So if n is very large, I can safely assume that sine theta tending to theta, or in this case sine alpha by n approaches alpha by n. So using this concept now, I just replace sine alpha by n with alpha by n. So I get a sine alpha by alpha by n. I take n up, it becomes capital A. That is small n a is equal to capital A, which is actually the total single slit amplitude. Hence the intensity at any point is I is equal to r square equal to a square sine square alpha by alpha square. So this is the total intensity at point A. But is it all? No, we have to find the different intensities. What am I talking about here is, this is the typical single slit diffraction intensity pattern. So I have this intensity which corresponds to the central maxima. I denoted with I naught. 0 comes here. That is the principal maxima intensity. And the further maximas are the I1, I2 are denoted as I1, I2, I3 and so on. These are the secondary maximas number 1, 2 and 3. And these are the minima points. So our aim is to find the intensity at every such point. So let me first start with the condition for principal maxima, wherein we are talking about the intensity of I naught. We have R is equal to a sine alpha by alpha. Now when this intensity becomes maximum, it becomes maximum when R and I are proportional. So for maximum I or maximum R, alpha has to go to 0 ideally. So that makes it R becomes infinity. But practically we need to find a value. So alpha is equal to 0. We can either apply the limits or open the series for sine alpha. For alpha equal to 0 condition, we will get I naught to be equal to a square. Now the condition for minima. Minima occurs when the numerator becomes 0, which is sine alpha equal to 0. At sine alpha equal to 0, the r will become 0. But please remember, if sine alpha is equal to 0, then there is one of the case which is alpha is also equal to 0. But we cannot use that value because alpha is equal to 0 is already used for the condition of principal maxima. So alpha cannot be equal to 0. Therefore, alpha is equal to plus minus m pi, where m is not equal to 0, which implies we will substitute for alpha, which is pi e sine theta by lambda. We get the equation e sine theta equal to plus minus m lambda. So this is the condition for minima, which corresponds to the intensity I to be 0. Now, most important point is to find the condition for secondary maxima, which constitute the intensities I1, I2, I3 and so on. Now, where does the secondary maxima point occur? It occurs at points where di by d alpha is equal to 0. So this is the formula we have to use to derive the conditions. So we have d by d alpha I naught sine square alpha by alpha square equal to 0, where I have substituted for a square to be I naught, because we know that by now. So I use the division rule and I get this line, which is 2 I naught sine alpha by alpha, alpha cos alpha minus sine alpha by alpha square equal to 0. Now we have the two terms sine alpha by alpha is equal to 0 or alpha cos alpha minus sine alpha by alpha square is equal to 0. But can the first term be equal to 0? No. If first term is equal to 0, that condition is taken for the minima point. So that cannot be equal to 0. So we are left with the second term, which should be equal to 0 for secondary maxima points. So solving this equation, or we can just say alpha cos alpha minus sine alpha is equal to 0 or alpha is equal to tan alpha. Now this equation can be very easily solved using the graphical method. So what we do is we plot two lines such that here in the diagram you can see psi equal to alpha, or you can say y equal to alpha. Psi equal to alpha and psi equal to tan alpha. We draw two lines, two curves here. And the intersection points here give me the values of alpha. So in my case, I get alpha is equal to 0, plus minus 3 by pi by 2, plus minus 5 pi by 2, plus minus 7 pi by 2 and so on. But please remember, alpha cannot be equal to 0. Why? Because that condition is already taken for principal maxima. So alpha is not equal to 0. So what does this indicate? So if I were to find the intensity of the first secondary maxima, so I will have to substitute alpha is equal to 3 pi by 2. For I2, I will have to substitute alpha is equal to 5 pi by 2 and so on. So that is what I do here. I have the formula for intensity, that is I naught sine square alpha by alpha square. So I just substitute for the alpha value, I get this. A square sine square of 3 pi by 2 by 3 pi by 2 whole square. So that gives me 4 by 9 pi square I naught. Similarly, I get I2 to be 4 by 25 pi square I naught and so on. So I can safely write the relation between I naught, I1, I2 as 1, 4 by 9 pi square, 4 by 25 pi square and so on. So this is all about the single slit diffraction. Thank you.